In our last videos, through our last videos, we were discussing the morphology of the inflorescence. Now, let us look at a vegetative part of the flowering plant, which is called the stem. So today we shall discuss the morphology of the stem. We are very familiar with this structure which we call the stem. This structure is the aerial part of the plant found above the soil. So stems are found above the soil, and in some cases they are found underground, which we will see later. And stems are characterized by the presence of buds. There are buds at two positions of a stem. At the tip of the stem we find the terminal bud or apical bud, which is responsible for elongation of the stem, helps the stem in growing upwards. There are axillary and lateral buds which are responsible for the formation of branches towards the lateral sides of the stem. And at the regions where we find lateral buds are the portions where leaves are formed, and these regions are the nodes. So on a stem we find nodes, which are regions from which the leaves develop, and the area between two nodes is called the internode. And these leaves, they get shed off, and stems are characterized by leaf scars, especially woody stems are characterized by the presence of remains of the leaves that have fallen off, and they are seen in the form of scars. And usually these lateral buds are formed in the axils of these leaves, and when the leaves are shed off, they grow into branches from these axillary portions. There are herbaceous stems which are similar in structure than the woody stems, but generally in all stems we find the terminal bud and lateral bud. And these stems are the structures that are responsible for supporting leaves, branches and flowers. They expose the leaves towards sunlight, and also these stems are the parts that are used for the transport of materials like water and minerals in between the root and the leaves. We have already seen characteristics like primary growth and secondary growth in the first semester. Here we can see a term given which is the epicotyle, and this is the portion of the embryo from which the stem develops. In an embryo, the region above the attachment of cotyledons is called the epicotyle, and this epicotyle has a part called the plumule from which the stem grows. And the stem grows with supporting the leaves, branches, fruits, flowers, and all these together form the shoot system. All these parts together comprise the shoot system. These are the general characteristics of the stem. Now there are different types of stem. First of all, let us look at the different types of stems based on their habit. The size of the stem and the nature of the stem determine the habit of the stem. There are herbaceous stems which are shorter. The maximum length of a herbaceous stem is actually 6 feet. No herbs are found growing beyond 6 feet. Herbaceous stems are found in plants which may be annual, which flower after an year and then become dead, or they may be biennial, living for 2 years In the first year they store food, and in the second year they flower and become dead. Or they may be perennial, living for numerous years. And in some cases like bamboo, they live for a long period of time and flower only once. But usually perennials flower constantly. They show flowering every year. Then shrubby or arborescent stems are woody stems. They are larger than the herbaceous stems. They show secondary growth and they are woody in nature. Suffrutescent stems are stems which show herbaceous nature at the top. But as they grow, the base of the stem becomes woody. So it is harder and woody downwards towards the base, and it is herbaceous at the top. In rosette stems, we find that the stems are short. They do not elongate, and they produce broad leaves around them. These shorter stems are surrounded by broad leaves. There are cushion stems, which are short and highly branched. Usually these stems are found in cold conditions at high altitudes, attached to rocks of certain mountains or other rocky structures. Then there are trees which are the largest of the stems. They are woody, show secondary growth, and are very large structures. And these trees, again, these stems can be divided into four types. There are tropical evergreen trees in which the leaves remain attached to the plant. It is perennial and the leaves remain attached to the plant, and they are found in tropical conditions. Bamboo is a typical example of a tropical evergreen stem. There are sclerophyllous evergreen stems in which the leaves are needle shaped, or they are more branched. They are modified into spiny structures in some cases. So these leaves are more hard, and they are not broad but narrow, or they are modified into different types of structures. So these are sclerophyllous evergreen stems, where the leaves remain attached to the stem. These plants are usually found in cold, temperate climates, and the leaves may be attached for up to 7 years on a stem before they are shed off. There are leafless evergreen stems, which are stems in which the leaves are replaced by other green structures. There are deciduous stems in which the leaves are shed off. The leaves, according to the change in climate, get shed off. In some regions it may be in the autumn season. In tropics we find this characteristic during summer season. So these are stems according to their habit. Now when we come to branching, we see certain types of stems. Some stems are unbranched. They do not show branching, like in the columnar stem or caudex found in palms. We find a single cylindrical stout unbranched stem with a crown or tuft of leaves at the top. There are no leaves on the stem. The leaves are all arranged at the top of the stem in the form of a crown, and the stem is characterized by the presence of leaf scars on its surface because the leaves get shed off constantly. So this is found in palms. Then in comb we find that the stem consists of nodes and hollow internodes. So in these stems there are regular nodes, they are jointed, and in between the nodes, the region of the internodes are hollow, while the nodes are not entirely hollow. They may contain solid structures. So these are found in plants like sugarcane, bamboo, and some grasses, and we call the stem culm. Next we have excurrent stem, in which the stem is unbranched. It keeps on growing upwards, and the branches are regularly formed around the main stem. We find younger branches at the top at older branches towards the lower portion. They are decurrent or deliquescent stems which show branching. After growing for a certain height, the stem starts to branch. And here there are different modes of branching in these stems. They may be dichotomously branched, showing a forking type of branching, or it may be other types like racemose or cymose types of branching. So these are the different types of stem based on branching. Unbranched stems like the codex and the culm, and branched ones which are excurrent or decurrent. Then stems are again divided based on the portion or part where they appear. There are underground stems. So we call these stems underground stems and not roots, because these underground structures show the presence of nodes and buds. So they are actually stems which have been modified to be underground. There are subaerial stems which are attached to the soil but grow above the soil. And there are aerial stems which are found above the soil, modified for various purposes. So in the next video we will be having a detailed talk on the different types of modified stems that we have seen here. Thank you very much.